Went from Captain Morgan to broccoli to Ninja Warrior.
Kind of crazy. I'm 120 pounds lighter now, so I'm swinging, climbing. It's a lot of fun. It's energizing because we get to do it as a family.
Some conversations make you laugh, some make you cry. Today is one of those conversations. Today we're talking about hope, healing, and health, all in second chances. My guests are Chris and Heidi Pettit, a husband and wife team, parents to 4 incredible kiddos, and living proof that it's never too late to change your life. From overcoming alcohol and food addiction, losing more than 100 pounds and keeping it off, to becoming a health coach and Ninja Warrior enthusiast, Chris's story is inspiring, and standing beside him every step of the way is Heidi, his biggest cheerleader, best friend, and teammate. Get ready to laugh, maybe shed a few tears, and leave believing that healing is possible. Friends, please welcome Chris and Heidi Pettit. Welcome to Second Chances. The best parts are on side B. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Chris. This is Heidi. So we've been married for 14 years now. Pretty happily for most of it. We've got 4 kids that we know of, and I've got 4 kids. She's got 5 kids because she's got to deal with me, unfortunately.
I'm going to ask you this: who's the fun parent?
Oh, I'm the fun parent. That's for sure. I'm for sure the fun parent. There's no debate there at all. I'm the fun one.
And what's a family tradition that you guys have?
Actually, something we started a while back. We really like the kids to be involved with the gift giving process, like during Christmas, things like that. And I really love that our kids look more forward to things like during Christmas time with giving presents and giving things to people as opposed to getting. And that's like their big focus on that. It's pretty cool. I like that.
That's invaluable. So I have a question. What's one thing that's always in the family pantry?
There is always peanut butter and jelly in the pantry.
And pancake mix.
Yes, and pancake mix, because they eat a lot of pancakes.
I make pancakes every Saturday morning. And they're pretty healthy pancakes. I get them from a place called Winco. They're like these 10-grain, multi-grain pancakes. But I put so many chocolate chips in there when I make them that they're not as healthy anymore, but they're pretty good.
This is coming from a health coach. I love it. You must know my husband. Before you guys met, tell me about each of you, where you were at in your lives, and how you connected.
Prior to Heidi and I meeting, Heidi and I actually met when we were working in a place called Phoenix Job Corps. And in theory, it's a great idea. This place exists so that kids that have aged out of high school or got expelled because of fights or because of drug use or pregnancies or whatever, they weren't able to get their diploma. Job Corps provides a place where they can get their diploma or GED, and their elective is a trade that they learn. So they learn cement masonry or carpentry or facilities maintenance, CNA, MA, security. I mean, all sorts of different trades. And I taught retail sales. So I taught kids customer service. My job was to teach people how to be nice to people.
You're so good at
That was my job as a teacher. I am, but let me tell you, it's not necessarily a skill that translates well. It is something that is, some people got it, some people don't.
Yep.
But that's how we met each other. At the time, I was drinking about 3 bottles of Captain Morgan a week. I was not in a good place with my health. I was 320 pounds plus and just not really digging life very much. And I came to an awakening. I decided I needed to stop drinking. And it was within 2 weeks of me deciding, hey, I'm going to slow way down on drinking, that I met Heidi.
So prior to meeting him, I had finished my education. I got a job. I was working as a counselor at the same place. I was the counselor working with these youth, trying to help them sort out all their issues so that, we could move forward with life.
And actually, our meeting story was pretty awesome. So I had a huge crush on Heidi. You have to know. I started working there within a week of her, and she worked on the opposite end of campus. No problem, no big deal. But I saw her once a month at her staff meeting. So once a month, I'd see this gorgeous blonde that would come over, and I'm like, I got such a crush on her. And I told my boss, his name was Jack, and literally for a year, I told him how I had this huge crush on Heidi until I finally worked up the courage to have him go ask her out for me. And so how that Yeah, but it's like middle school. It's awesome.
Uh-huh.
We're sitting around one day, the kids were off and we were there for staff meetings, and I was saying, man, I just really like Heidi. And he's like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm going to go ask her out for you. I'm like, no. Be cool. Be cool, man. He's like, no, I'll be cool. He walked right into her office and he says, hey, if Chris asked you out, would you go out with them? To which she said,
I said, sure, but I'm not looking for anything serious.
enter, not anything serious. That defines me to a person. Like that's, I embody that statement.
Yep.
Our first date was pretty rough. We went to a place called Claim Jumper. And something you need to know, Jennie, is I had never dated girls. I didn't know how to date someone. I didn't know how to be kind. I didn't know how to bring up conversations. Most of my relationships at that point in my life, I was 24 years old, started and usually ended in a bar. And so I had a lot of girlfriends that I woke up next to, but I didn't have a concept of how to date someone. So I'm super nervous. And I spend the entire first hour of our date. We were on a date for an hour and a half. And the first hour of our date, I kept talking about every drunken story that I could possibly think of. Every single conversation, everything that came out of my mouth was, I remember I got so drunk that blah, 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 for an hour and a half. And then at the end of the night, I walk her to her car. It's a Saturday night. And I said, hey, do you want to hang out tomorrow? She says, no, I can't. I have church. I'm like, oh, what faith are you? She says, I'm LDS. I'm like, oh, great. I'm Mormon. I just spent an hour and a half telling this Mormon that I drink and get drunk all the time. And she doesn't drink. She doesn't even look at alcohol. I'm like, oh, this is super. So I pretty much wrote it off. I drove home, tail between my legs, and did what any other sane person would do at this point. I picked up my phone and started drunk texting her because I took a couple shots as soon as I got home. Yeah. And like, I love you so much. You're so pretty. Do you want to come over? And I got a response back. No. And that was pretty much it. So that's what I recall from that evening. Now I woke up the next morning and I looked at my phone and I'm like, oh my God. I hope I didn't send anything super inappropriate. There were no naked photos. Don't worry about that. But the text messages I sent her as her coworker were probably less than appropriate. But thankfully, she worked on the other end of campus. And so I felt really bad Sunday. But I'm like, man, I really got to play my cards right when I get back to work tomorrow. I was going to try and fix it. Well, the next day, I walk into work and Jack comes into my office. He's like, hey, how'd the date go? Doesn't matter. Guess what? You've got a new counselor. And so I'm like, Jack, and I showed him the text messages and he's like, oh no, you're so fired. Thanks, Jack. Thanks. And so for the next 2 weeks, we had to share an office. I saw her literally every single day, multiple times a day, instead of once a month like it was. And now I had to make up excuses. So she'd come walking out of a building and I'm like, oh, you look great. I gotta go. Bye. And I'd run away because I was scared to death I was going to get fired. So.
Heidi, what were you thinking during all of this? Like your first date, and he's just rambling. You're like,
I mean, it was just one of those like, okay, just another random guy that I'm not really interested in. I'm not looking for anything. And, we'll move on.
and then you see him every day. Did you have any feelings or did you think he was cute? Like, did you have any?
I mean, he had a great personality, but I didn't think much about it, to be perfectly honest. He was just another one of the random guys that I went on a date with.
Yeah.
And then
And then one day, a coworker made a comment about how we looked cute together. So on a Friday night, I gave him a text back and said, hey, you want to try again?
I was sober that night. What coincidence. Thank God. Can you imagine? So our second date went much better. So here was my plot. Okay. My plan was for the second date. I'm like, all right, we're going to go see a scary movie or an action movie. She's going to be huddled up against me the whole movie. We're going to make out. It's going to be awesome. That was my plan. And we get down to the movie theater and the movie I picked out, she didn't want to see. And then the other movies.
I don't like scary movies.
Yeah.
Or Heidi.
Yeah. So we looked and the only movie we could agree on was, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, the Johnny Depp Alice in Wonderland.
But it didn't start. It didn't start for like an hour. I'm not going to go wait in the theater for an hour. What are we going to do? Well, so that honestly, that's the only reason I think we're still together today is because of that movie being an hour later. Because we're at the mall and we end up going over to Barnes and Noble. We read a lot. We didn't know this about each other at the time. I have 3,000 books upstairs. Like I have a full library. I read a lot.
Yes,
She reads a lot. So we spent that entire hour at Barnes and Noble walking around, and this will blow your mind. getting to know each other. I've never done that. I'm like, you can talk to women when you're not just trying to sleep with them? Like, holy crap. Blew my mind.
We had fun talking about interests that we actually had, things that we actually agreed on with regards to various things, and found that we do have actually some similarities, even though we're like polar opposites.
So it all happened at Barnes and Nobles. When did you know that this was going to be forever?
We've been dating 3 or 4 months before someone said something first.
Yes, I did say I love you first.
There it is. There it is.
You did? Oh, that's so cute,
Yeah.
Heidi. I was going to ask, who kissed who first?
I don't know that it was somebody kissed the other. I think it was more mutual.
Yeah, so our third date happened to be my birthday, and so she took me out. You might have even paid for dinner. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Yeah, we
I
went
paid
to
for dinner.
an Italian restaurant. The food was terrible. I remember that.
Yeah,
And then-
that was not that good.
Right after that date, it was our third date, and we went walking at Freestone Park. And Freestone Park was about a mile or 2 miles from my house, and that had always been my park as I was going through high school, and that has become our park because that's where we had our first kiss. That's where I asked her to marry me. That's where we do family photos. Like Freestone Park is our family park. And I remember we sat on a bench and we started making out, and I was convinced that I was going to have her that night on a bench and or a table there at the park. She had other ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it worked out.
Obviously. So this is interesting to me. So we've got a Mormon and an atheist. How have you learned respecting each other's beliefs? What advice would you give to other couples that are going through different faith backgrounds? Because this is a real thing.
This is a real thing. And here in Arizona, I mean, there's more folks that are LDS in Arizona, I think, here than all of Utah.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like the sheer amount of people out here that are LDS. I go to church every Sunday. I'm the worst atheist you'll ever meet. I'm the most confused atheist you'll ever meet because I still don't believe in God, but we go every Sunday because I want to know what my kids are learning. My kids, one of my oldest son is not baptized. My 2 girls are baptized because they wanted to be, and my 5-year-old will probably want to get baptized, but if he doesn't, that's okay. That's his choice. But the way we've navigated that, because this question comes up literally every time we introduce ourselves and our situation to someone, they're like, wait, but she's, and you're, how does it work? I'm like, well, we care for each other. We like each other. And going into it, honestly, before we got married, we got a covenant marriage because we knew we wanted to get married one time. We didn't want to mess around with divorces. I came from a family of divorce, and a lot of my friends growing up got married a young 19, 20, 21 years old and have had a couple marriages since then. Nothing against that. You know, lots of people have lots of marriages, but I didn't want that to be us. And I said, let's get a covenant marriage because I'm real serious about this. I'd had a lot of relationships at that point. I knew what I wanted. She knew what she wanted. And so we're going through the covenant process. And to do that, you have to do marriage counseling. So we met with members of her bishopric, and I didn't even know that word at that point. I'm like, I don't know who these guys are. But it was this guy and his wife who'd been married for like 45, 50 years at this point, and they were going to coach us. So we go over to their house, and we'd already asked each other a lot of questions leading up to this whole
lot of conversations.
We had a lot. Yeah, about how to raise kids, about, what about, I'm not intending to get baptized. Are you okay with that? We can't get a temple marriage. We can't get sealed in the temple because I'm not LDS. And so we talked about that. And so when we had our first meeting for the marriage counseling, they're like 2 questions in, and the wife, I remember, looks over and stops the husband from asking another question because she's like, they already have these answers figured out. Let's go watch American Idol. Like, it was the marriage counseling we got because they said, you already have all the answers. So
we already discussed all the questions that they had of things that people really should think about and discuss prior to getting married. We had already discussed all these things.
And I'd say that the biggest part of it for us has always been communication. I share everything with Heidi. I could never cheat on Heidi because she'd be the first person I'd tell. Like, seriously, I tell her everything. And that's why I'm like, oh, busted. But in all seriousness, when we first got married, I had a couple of mentors in my life who I deeply respected, and they overheard a conversation with me and Heidi, and they're like, I can't believe you told your wife about our conversation the other day. I said, yeah, I tell her everything. He's like, no, you can't tell your wife everything. You can't tell her this or this or this or this. And I'm like, no, I tell her all of those things and more. Maybe that's why you guys have been on your second or third marriage by this point.
Possibly.
It's possible, but I'd say so communication is really key. Like that's the biggest thing. I have no problem communicating.
Well, and just being open and honest and realizing that we are completely different peoples. We have different beliefs, and that's okay if as long as we can be okay with that. I think people get into trouble when it's like, well, no, they have to believe what I believe. Well, not necessarily. And if that is something that is really important to someone, then you got to take that in consideration. At the time when we were getting married, that was not something that mattered as much, that we believed exactly the same thing.
No. And I will say the first few years we were married, I was really unhealthy. I was over 320 pounds. I wasn't happy. And I would constantly belittle Heidi, be super sarcastic because that's just the environment I grew up in. And I thought that was normal. And it was probably about, let's say 2.5 years into our marriage. And no, not even that far, but maybe a year into our marriage. And I responded with something because I have really snappy, really hilarious comebacks. But sometimes I should filter those and not say them. I should not say the thing that comes to mind. And
Yes.
I said one of those things and I realized it hurt Heidi. And I looked at her and I said, did that hurt your feelings? And, she had a little bit of a tear in her eye. She said, yeah, I know you're trying to be funny, but, it was kind of hurtful. And I started to realize, okay, I need to stop doing this. This is my partner. This is the person I've chosen to spend the rest of my life with. She has chosen to spend most of her life with me. And so I think it's important. What? That's accurate. We have really great life insurance, by the way. Anyway, we'll get into that story later. But it was so critical that she was kept happy. And I didn't realize what a jerk I was being at the time. I was teasing her about stuff at church. I would watch General Conference with her twice a year just to tease the speakers. Like I would reference one of the guys looked exactly like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars and sounded like him too. I would constantly tease her on that. I stopped doing that years ago.
Yeah.
But I'd say that was a key tipping point, a year and a half in, is when I realized I probably shouldn't be as much of a jerk as I've been.
Was that kind of like your mindset shift because you've lost 100 pounds? So tell us about that.
We've been married 14 years now. I've been a coach with Trilogy for 11 years now. And it was a tough time in our life. So it was 2014. I got a phone call from my cousin Joe. I love this man. And he'd always been my barometer. He'd been like an older brother to me. I grew up learning IT skills because he was an IT guy. I got into IT because he was in IT. I followed his eating patterns and we were both pretty big boys. Well, I took solace in the fact that I was 6'2". I still am 6'2", and he's 5'10". So I'm 4 inches taller than he is. And so I've always weighed about the same as him, but I've never been as round. And so he was my barometer. As long as I'm not as big as Joe, I'm fine. And suddenly in 2014, Joe lost 160 pounds and it changed his life. And I hadn't seen him. I talked to him on the phone a little bit, but I hadn't actually seen him. And he had a conversation with me. He said, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to start coaching. I think you should check it out. Can you get on a practice call with me? And I knew what that meant. I'm like, yeah, I'll get on a practice call with you. And I was hyper aggressive. I told him, look, I'm going to be a jerk to you with your mentor on the phone. Are you going to be okay with that? He's like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Totally on board. Be as much of a jerk as you can. They told me the call was going to be 30 minutes. It ended up being 45. And they talked to me, asking me my goals. They're asking me how I would feel if I were to lose X amount of weight, and et cetera, et cetera. And by the end of it, his coach said, okay, so you ready to get started? And I said, no, I'm doing this on my own. Thank you, though. And she says, well, after everything you just told me, why not? And I let him have it. I tore into him. I used all sorts of bad words. And I said, this is dumb. I don't believe in this, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, okay, take care, bye. And I hung up the phone. Meanwhile, Heidi's standing there in the kitchen and she'd only heard my end of the conversation. She didn't hear what they were. And so she's like, who are you on the phone with? And I said, my cousin. She's like, and what was he saying? Well, he wants to help me get healthier and lose weight. And she just kind of went, and that's how you responded? I'm like, yeah. Oops. And so I was a dumbass. I was a dumbass. And so that was November of 2014. Fast forward to February of 2015. And I had just played basketball on Saturday morning, and I wake up Sunday morning playing on the ground with our 9-month-old Sarah. She's 11 now. And I'm rolling around on the ground with Sarah, and I tweaked something in my back and I couldn't stand up. And at 320 pounds, it was embarrassing. It was hilarious trying to have my 120-pound wife come over and do the whole 1, 2, 3 heave ho, lift me off the ground. I couldn't stand up. And it was embarrassing. And it was Super Bowl Sunday, 2015. And I remember it because Later that day for Joe's birthday and for the Super Bowl party, we were going to go to his house. So we go over to Joe's house and he opens the door. I didn't recognize him. I'm like, dude, you look incredible. He's like, yeah, so are you ready to get started? I said, no, I'm good. Let's go get some hot dogs or something. And I walk into his house and he gets on the ground and plays with his daughter, Emma, who's the same age as my daughter, Sarah. And he rolls around on the ground with her and he stands up holding her. He stood up without having to push off the wall, without having to have someone pull him up, any of that stuff. But he stands up while holding the baby. And it was like a bomb went off in my brain. And I realized I need to get healthier, not for me, but for my family. And I need to be there. I need to be there for my wife, who the whole 5 years we've been married at this point, 4 years we've been married at this point, had been silently wondering if I was going to wake up the next day because I was so unhealthy. I mean, it was bad. And I didn't realize the hell that I was putting them through. I didn't realize how stressed I was all the time, any of that stuff. And that was what kicked off my journey. And I lost 120 pounds in 6 months. And it changed everything for us. I became a better dad. I became a different husband. And it was it was an eye-opener. That was 11 years ago now.
So you literally went from Captain Morgan to broccoli.
Yep. Kind of crazy.
Captain Morgan to Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, Captain Morgan and Ninja Warrior.
So tell us about that.
So I do American Ninja Warrior training a couple days a week. I do that 2-3 days a week now. And what's really fun about that is our 4 kids do it with me. So we have a 13-year-old Carter, 11-year-old Sarah, 9-year-old Winter, and 5-year-old Casey. They all do it with me. And so far, I can beat all of them still at Ninja Warrior, except Sarah. Sarah, my 11-year-old, who was at then 9 months old, is kicking my butt up and down the ninja gym. It's kind of crazy. I'm swinging on bars. I'm 120 pounds lighter now, so I'm swinging through the air. I'm using rings. I'm using bars. I'm climbing warp walls. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's energizing because we get to do it as a family. We get to explore that. We even did it for a date night once. We discovered that is not Heidi's sport.
It is not, and I'm okay with that. They can have that with Dad.
You can be the ninja dad. They probably are so proud to say, my dad's a ninja, and they do that with you. That's your thing. That's your bonding. You can do together.
It is, and they rub it in all the time. They're like, yeah, my dad's a Ninja Warrior over there. He's the one who's only a level 5, and I'm a level 6. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that you're a higher level than I am. That's super awesome.
She's very proud that she's higher than you.
Yeah, she has got something to brag about. She's got some bragging rights. So what is harder, Chris? Recovery from food or alcohol addiction, or hanging from the monkey bars?
Recovery from food and alcohol addiction too, for sure. Like the Ninja Warrior stuff, I'm always injured. I'm 42 now. I'm always broken and injured no matter what I do. I've given up being recovered completely ever because I won't stop. I stopped for 6 weeks when I tore my shoulder. And I just said, screw it. I'm just going to go back to it. And I did. I still have a torn shoulder, a torn, what is it, supraspinatus or something like that. But either way, partial tear in my shoulder. And that's okay because I still have fun with it. I built up some muscle around it. But more importantly, the mindset piece over the last 11 years that has changed our life. I mean, it's changed our marriage. We go on date nights as often as we can. I still really enjoy being with Heidi. It's been pretty incredible. I'm a different person for sure.
Heidi, do you think he was crazy to do the Ninja Warrior?
I mean, they enjoy it.
So what's the biggest habit, Chris, that you thought made the difference? When you first start a program to get healthy, like you're starting at ground zero. How did you even take the first step?
What it had to do with when I first started, the only reason I even started to begin with was because I watched someone that I knew and loved do it, and it changed their life. Had it just been another fad diet, had I seen another person lose 50 to 100 pounds and then regain it back, it wouldn't have interested me. I'd done that enough times. I've lost 400 pounds, the same 20 pounds, 20 times. But it's not about that. It's not about the weight loss. It's about the life gained. And for me, that was the big eye opener. I'd always tried to do things on my own before. And now suddenly we were doing it as a family. Heidi lost 15 pounds of baby weight that we weren't even planning for when I was on program, just because we changed the way we were eating as a family. And now my kids, this is hysterical. My kids know that they need to get some protein with every meal. They use words like protein and carbohydrates and sugars. My 11-year-old constantly asks me, hey, does this have enough protein in it? Do you think this is going to be good for my muscle protein synthesis? How do you know those words? This is incredible. And it has changed the way we eat.
Learning by example.
Yeah, exactly. We're living this. We are living our health. And what I love is that my parents watched our kids one time when we were at an event for 12 hours. We dropped them off first thing in the morning, like 6:30 in the morning, and we picked them up at like 10 o'clock at night. And my parents, they're like, your kids eat all the time. I'm like, yeah, like every 2 to 3 hours. They're like, yeah, it's like clockwork. I'm like, yeah, that's what we should be doing. So it's pretty good.
Proud
Yeah.
mom and dad. What's your favorite healthy meal?
Ooh, well,
Oh,
we
that's hard
have
to say there's a lot of them.
we have different tastes.
Yes.
I like spicy. I'd say our go-to healthy meal for me, I literally take this every Tuesday to Ninja Warrior, and I let Heidi make it because I love her so much. I let her make it for me.
Right. That's
But
why.
I make a creamy buffalo chicken bake. It's 5 ingredients. It's chicken, cheese, fat-free cream cheese, Frank's Red Hot, and light ranch dressing. And you mix all that together, and it's a freaking amazing. I eat it with celery or with mini peppers that she slices up or I slice up, and I eat them like chips. It is amazing.
Send us the recipe.
I definitely will.
I prefer keeping it more simple. I like doing taco salads or steak with a salad, something like that.
So Heidi, what do you admire about Chris?
I love that he can keep a positive attitude and he's really good at making me laugh.
Chris, what do you love about Heidi?
I love that no matter how many times I make her cry, I can still make her laugh. But that's mostly what I love about our relationship. I honestly, she's an amazing mom. She's been the most phenomenal mom. Even before we had kids. Like we'd be around nephews and nieces and she would just be so loving. And that's really what attracted me to her. I watched how she dealt with these troubled youth when we were teachers and how she respected them and how she gave them an opportunity, a safe place to talk. And I just fell in love with her. That's probably one of the biggest reasons I fell in love with her is her compassion for other people. And that's definitely made her just the best mom ever.
Oh, I love that. I love how you guys compliment and you look at each other. So finish this sentence. Marriage is
A lot of work, but it's been worth it.
You know what's really funny? I literally was about to say worth it. Marriage is worth it. And here we are completing each other's sandwiches. Anyway, but no, it's okay. It's a joke from Frozen. But I'm probably going to get sued by Disney. But honestly, I'd say the biggest thing for us is marriage is, and people talk about, bad things don't happen to you. They happen for you. I see marriage is the same way. We had 5 or 6 close friends that when we first got married that told us we weren't going to last. And they said, I give it 6 months. You guys need to go get a temple marriage. You're not going to last. You're too different, yada, 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 yada. We are here 14 years later and 5 of the 6 of them are divorced for various reasons. And all I can think is we stuck it out mostly to say to them, but no, okay, maybe not.
Started as
that. But no, it's been worth it. I mean, even on our toughest day, I know that I can wake up next to the person that I love most, and she's there for me no matter how bad my breath stinks, no matter how rough my day is, she's there for me.
okay. I want to do a little rapid fire here. All right. Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Salty.
Favorite snack?
Special pretzels.
Yeah, those are pretty tasty.
They're like these pretzel crisps from a snack factory. Their garlic parmesan flavored is like crap.
They are delicious.
It's so good. I got to avoid those as much as I can.
Send the link. People. Okay. All right. Who's funnier?
Me, for sure. I've got awards that say so.
Yes, he does.
Who apologizes first?
Well, I usually have to because it's always my fault. But again, this stems back to I make her cry all the damn time, but I make her laugh. I make up for it. So yeah, it's definitely me.
Who's more competitive?
He is.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Who spends more money?
She does by far. She spends money on the electricity, on trash,
The
on the mortgage. I spend money on food. That's pretty much it. I have the.
You buy food. I pay for everything else.
As far as fiscal responsibility, I am terrible with money. She is the only reason we're not in jail and or broke. So we're good.
What's your idea of a dream vacation?
Ooh,
We have talked about wanting to take our kids to Alaska because that could be a lot of fun.
We went on an Alaskan cruise for our honeymoon and fell in love with it. That was when I was still 320 pounds. I'll send you photos. I was wearing a 3X bomber jacket that now I can zip up with her, holding her 9 months pregnant. I can zip up this bomber jacket. And that's how big I used to be. Like, it's crazy.
If you go to Alaska, we've got some connections for you. So let us know.
I heard that.
What's your favorite date night?
Ooh, it probably differs. Is this going R-rated or like what level of written on? I'm kidding. I love when we do an activity of some kind. Like if we go to Top Golf, we've done that quite a few times. I win every time. I don't care what she says.
He does
every
not.
Every time.
He hates Top Golf because I can win at Top Golf. I cannot hit the ball as far as he can, but I'm more accurate.
Shit. Okay. To be fair, it's because when I set up the game, I put her on beginner and I put myself on intermediate because I'm a better golfer. I do. And the problem is it rates me differently. So I lose every freaking time. It's BS. But no, we like doing fun activities like that, like escape rooms. Oh, we have a board game fetish too. Like we have a massive amount of board games upstairs. It's pretty insane. So sometimes we'll just do a date night here and go pick up some Dairy Queen or, not.
Or not.
Oops. You have to do those things once in a while. So, okay, Chris, what's one word to describe Heidi? And then Heidi, one word to describe Chris.
One word to describe Heidi.
Only one word.
Only one. Everything. Everything. My word for her is everything. She is my everything.
A word for you. You're pretty awesome at everything.
Aw, thank you. She stole mine. You caught that, right? She stole my word.
You're an awesome father. You're an awesome husband. You do well with your business. Like,
thank you.
You are pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Aw, I do have to say you guys have amazing, beautiful kiddos and you cute together.
Thank you.
So I have a question for you, Chris. So what would you say to somebody that's listening that might have a weight issue and they're wanting to feel healthy again, struggling with addiction? You've been there. What would you tell someone?
So many people are out there struggling. And a lot of times they're struggling silently because they don't think anyone cares. They don't think anyone knows. Here's the thing. At 320 pounds, everyone knew I was a big fat guy, including me. And it wasn't until someone cared enough to talk to me and say, hey, I think I might be able to help you, that everything changed. And so for anyone out there that's struggling with any kind of weight issues, any kind of addiction issues, you're not alone. Talk to your significant other. Like if I didn't have Heidi in my life, I'd be 400 pounds or dead at this point. I really would. And it's because I can talk to her and she will give me honest feedback and the people around me will be honest with me. I'd say that's the critical piece, is surround yourself with people that care enough about you to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And that's what changed my life.
If someone's listening and they want to connect with you, where should they go to learn about what you did to get healthy?
Easiest way is reach out to me on Facebook or send me a message. And I mean, what it comes down to is reaching out to someone is scary. Absolutely terrifying. When I first started on program 11 years ago, I lost 35 pounds in the first month. Everyone around me saw it. Everyone around me was like, holy crap, dude. Do you have AIDS? do you have cancer? I'm like, no, I feel great. They're like, okay, well then I want to do whatever it is you're doing. How do I do that? And I got them in touch with my coach. Not a single one of them called my coach because they didn't know him. They knew me. And so one of those people helped change my life. They said, hey, I want to do what you're doing, but I don't want to work with a stranger. I want to work with you. Will you coach me? I had to suck it up and I had to go to my cousin and say, hey, I think I want to coach this. I told him when he initially signed me up, I don't have any interest in coaching. I love being an IT guy. Don't even bring up coaching. But then after I sent him 30 people and not a damn one of them called him, I took it under advisement. I said, okay, I'm going to coach just a couple friends and family. And now, a couple thousand people later, it's amazing the ripple effect that one person's decision can have. Your husband, Jennie, your husband, the ripple effect that he's had is 2 million plus strong. And I'm one of those 2 million. Had he not decided 25 years ago to say, hey, I want to get my health under control, I wouldn't be here today. Mm-hmm. My kids may not have a father, My wife would definitely have upgraded to a better husband by this point, for sure.
Oh, I love you both. Heidi, I'm going to ask you the last question. What has this journey with Chris and this last 14 years taught you about unconditional love?
Well, it's a lot of knowing that even on those days where he pisses me off to no end, that deep down, like he is the one that I love. He is who I fell in love with. I do still love him. There are days I do not like him, and we work through those days. I tell our kids this quite often. I'm like, I love you. I don't like you right now. But, working through all of that and realizing that he is the one that I want to spend my life with. There isn't somebody else out there that is going to be better or is going to understand me, who's been through the stuff with me. At this point, he is the one. And so it's working through all of that.
You're in it to win it. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I think a lot of health issues too are made about our choices. And you two made an amazing choice to get together with Heidi, even though you were scared and overcame the alcohol, stinking thinking in your head. A Mormon and an atheist that can live in the same household, love and respect. And that's the connection. You guys love each other. And that's all that matters. So until next time, keep choosing one better health choice at a time, everybody.